This millionaire had everything: money, power, and success. But at his friend's wedding, one clumsy, late bridesmaid turned his world upside down. One look, one moment, and he knew he had to make her his. Before we begin, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Sophia was rushing desperately through the hotel hallways, holding up the hem of her dress and trying not to break her ankle in the heels that had once seemed like a great choice, but now felt like a death sentence. The plan was simple: arrive early, help with the preparations, and shine as a bridesmaid. But of course, the universe had other plans. First, her taxi was late. Then, a reckless driver nearly ran her over at the hotel entrance. And to top it all off, the elevator that would have taken her straight to the ballroom was packed, forcing her to sprint up the stairs. If there were an award for the clumsiest bridesmaid in history, she would definitely win. Sorry, she mumbled with every bump into bewildered guests. She was just a few steps away. She could already hear the murmur of guests inside the ballroom, meaning the ceremony was about to start. And then it happened. Bam! Sophia crashed into something solid, or rather, someone. The impact was so strong that her bouquet went flying, her purse at the floor, and she nearly kissed the hotel's expensive carpet. But before disaster could be complete, strong hands grabbed her waist, preventing her from falling. The scent of expensive cologne filled her senses, and for a second, she forgot even her own name. "Please tell me I didn't just run over an elderly man," she muttered, trying to regain her balance. "I'm definitely not an elderly man," a deep, slow voice responded. Sophia blinked a few times before finally looking up at the man holding her waist. Her breath hitched. What kind of genetic injustice was this? He looked like he had stepped straight out of a luxury suit advertisement: dark hair, perfectly styled, piercing blue eyes, and an aura of absolute authority. His expression was a mix of curiosity and amusement. "You're late." Sophia's eyes widened. "Great." He was observant too. "Thank you, Captain Obvious. Any other brilliant facts you'd like to share?" The corner of his lips lifted slightly, but Sophia didn't have time for flirting or analyzing how ridiculously attractive that smirk was. She tried to step away quickly, but felt a tug on her dress. Looking down, to her absolute humiliation, she saw that the fabric had gotten caught on her own heel. Oh, fantastic. Because tripping alone wasn't enough, she had to get stuck too. The man crouched down without rushing, freeing the fabric with a swift motion. "You may now continue your suicide mission." Sophia rolled her eyes, grabbed her things, and took off again, determined not to look back. Sophia slipped into place among the bridesmaids, heart pounding. The ceremony had already begun, and the bride, her best friend Lily, was shooting her a death glare. But Sophia could only focus on him. Seated among the groomsmen was the man from the collision. He was watching her again, his gaze unreadable. "Who is that?" she whispered to the bridesmaid beside her. "Daniel Carter." "And why should I know who he is?" "Because he's one of the richest men in the country and the CEO of one of the world's biggest financial consulting firms." Sophia blinked. "Oh, of course. Makes perfect sense that a billionaire spends his time saving clumsy bridesmaids in hotel hallways." Her friend stifled a quiet laugh. "He's a mystery. Cold, calculating, never gets involved with anyone. They say he can end a career with just one phone call." Sophia swallowed hard. Great. Not only had she nearly knocked him over, but she had also been rude to him. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. All she needed to do was survive the ceremony, avoid any more disasters, and most importantly, stop looking at Daniel Carter. Except when she opened her eyes again, he was still watching her. And he raised an eyebrow, as if he knew exactly what she was thinking. The wedding reception was in full swing. The ballroom glowed with golden lights, soft music filled the air, and guests moved between elegantly decorated tables. Sophia tried to stay on task, helping Lily, making sure the bride was okay, and most importantly, avoiding any more catastrophes. But the universe had other plans. As she reached for a glass of wine from a waiter's tray, she turned too quickly and collided into something solid. Again, time froze. She held her breath, watching in horror as red liquid splashed onto the perfect fabric of a black suit. She looked up, of course meeting Daniel Carter's blue eyes. "Tell me, this didn't just happen," she whispered, still holding the empty glass. Daniel glanced down at his shirt, then back at her, his expression unreadable. "Well, it did." Sophia swallowed hard. I'll grab a napkin." "No, wait, I can clean." Before she could finish, he calmly removed his jacket and rolled up his sleeves. "Relax, it's just wine." She blinked, surprised. "You're not going to sue me? Or throw me out of the party?" He smirked. "Not yet, but if you'd like to make it up to me, you could join me at the bar." Sophia hesitated. "Was that an invitation?" "More like an attempt," he said smoothly. "Depends on your answer." She glanced around, looking for an escape. But the truth was, despite everything, she was intrigued. "Okay," she said finally, "but I get to choose the drinks." Daniel tilted his head. "Surprise me." Sophia sat at the bar, studying Daniel as he swirled his whiskey. "So, Daniel Carter," she mused, "tell me, why is a high-powered CEO at a wedding that doesn't fit his reserved style? Because I'm the groom's best man. And because your social life consists of boring corporate events?" Daniel actually laughed, a rare, unexpected sound. "Maybe. What about you?" "I'm the maid of honor, which means I'm here out of duty, not choice." "And yet, you seem to be enjoying yourself." She rolled her eyes. "Well, the night got more interesting after I spilled wine on a billionaire." Daniel smirked. "You're never going to let that go, are you?" "Probably not." A comfortable silence settled between them. Then, suddenly he extended his hand. "Dance with me." Sophia's eyes widened. "What?" "One dance. That's all." "What if I say no?" "I'd say you're lying." She bit her lip, suppressing a smile. "You're unbearably arrogant, you know that? And yet you're still here." With a deep breath, she placed her hand in his. By the end of the night, Sophia was exhausted. She walked outside, pulling out her phone to call a ride. No drivers available. "Looks like your escape plan failed," came a familiar voice. She turned, finding Daniel standing beside her, hands in his pockets. "I'm not running away," she said. "I'm just going home. Without a ride." "That's just a detail." Daniel opened the car door. "I'll take you." Sophia hesitated, then finally sighed. "Fine, but only because I have no other option." As she got into the car, she had a strange feeling. Sophia stared at the article, her brain struggling to catch up. The headline felt surreal, but the accompanying photo confirmed it. Her, standing beside Daniel's sleek black car, looking completely oblivious while he, on the other hand, looked intense. Her phone buzzed again. "Lily." Sophia groaned and finally picked up. "Before you say anything, I just saw it." "Just saw it." "Sophia, your face is literally on every gossip site. People are calling you Daniel Carter's mystery woman." Sophia flopped back onto her bed, rubbing her temples. "It's ridiculous. I'm not his mystery. Anything. I spilled wine on him, that's all." Lily scoffed. "Uh-huh. And then he gave you a ride home. And then he stared at you like you were the most interesting thing at the wedding. Don't act like this is normal, Sophia. Maybe he was just being polite." Lily laughed. "Daniel Carter doesn't do polite. He does business. And if he's spending time with someone, it means something." Sophia bit her lip, unsure how to respond. Her phone vibrated again, this time with a text. "Unknown number. Good morning. I assume you've seen the news?" She shot up in bed. "Sophia." Lily asked, "Are you still breathing?" "Yeah, She hesitated, her heart pounding. "I think Daniel just texted me." Silence. Then, "Oh, my God." Sophia didn't wait for Lily's inevitable meltdown. Instead, she quickly texted back. "Sophia, let me guess, you have a team of lawyers ready to sue the press?" His reply came almost instantly. "Daniel, no, but I do have a solution." Sophia narrowed her eyes. "Sophia, which is, Daniel, meet me for breakfast. We should talk." Her breath hitched. "Breakfast? With him?" Lily screamed through the phone. "Sophia, if you don't go, I will show up at your apartment and dress you myself." Sophia barely registered her best friend's hysteria. She was too busy staring at the message, knowing deep down that this was just the beginning. Sophia stood outside the cafe, fidgeting with the strap of her purse. This was a terrible idea, a completely unnecessary, disaster waiting to happen kind of idea. And yet here she was. The small, upscale cafe wasn't the kind of place she usually visited, too polished, too expensive, too filled with people who probably discuss stock markets over their morning espresso. But Daniel Carter had picked it, and something told her he wasn't the kind of man who took no for an answer. Taking a deep breath, she pushed open the glass door and stepped inside. The place smelled like fresh coffee and warm pastries, but her nerves made it impossible to enjoy. Then she spotted him. Daniel sat at a corner table, looking completely unbothered by the headlines that had sent her morning into chaos. Dressed in a crisp dark blue button-down with the sleeves rolled up, he looked every bit the powerful CEO he was rumored to be, calm, collected, and completely in control. And then he looked up. His blue eyes met hers, and for a second, she forgot why she was even here. Sophia swallowed and made her way over, sliding into the seat across from him. "All right," she said, crossing her arms. "I'm here. What's the solution?" Daniel leaned back slightly, studying her. "You're not one to waste time, are you? I don't have the luxury of pretending this is normal." She gestured toward his phone, where a news article was open. "People think we're dating. I had 3 strangers DM me asking if I'm pregnant with your child. This is insane." Daniel smirked. "That's creative." Sophia groaned. "I'm serious, Daniel. How do we fix this?" He exhaled, tapping a finger against a coffee cup. "We let the media think what they want." She blinked. "Excuse me?" The more we deny it, the more attention it gets. But if we play along, let the story run its course, it'll die out faster. Sophia stared at him like he had grown 2 heads. "You want me to pretend we're dating?" He raised an eyebrow. "It's just temporary. A few public appearances, and then we amicably part ways. No drama, no scandal." She let out a sharp laugh. "Oh, sure. Because fake dating a billionaire is totally normal." Daniel's lips twitched. "It's a business arrangement, Sophia. You help me, I help you." She frowned. "Help me how?" He leaned in slightly. "You work in event planning, don't you?" Sophia stiffened. "How do you?" "I did my research." Of course he did. Daniel continued, "I happen to need a planner for a major corporate event. And given how memorable our first meeting was, I'd say, you know how to handle chaos." She narrowed her eyes. "So, let me get this straight. You want me to be your fake girlfriend and plan your event?" He nodded. Sophia folded her arms. "And what do I get out of this besides a headache?" Daniel's expression turned serious. "A generous paycheck, media exposure for your work, and a list of elite clients who will take you seriously just because you're associated with me." Her breath caught. That kind of opportunity could change everything. Still, this was insane. She should say no. She needed to say no. Instead, she found herself saying, "One condition." Daniel arched an eyebrow, which is, "You don't get to micromanage me." Something flickered in his eyes. Approval, maybe? He extended a hand. "Deal." Sophia hesitated, then shook it. His grip was firm, steady, confident. Sophia wasn't sure how she got here. One second, she was panicking over a ridiculous tabloid rumor, and the next, she was fake, dating a billionaire. And now, she was sitting across from Daniel Carter as he casually sipped his coffee like this was the most normal thing in the world. "So," she said, still gripping her cup like it was a lifeline, "how exactly does this work? Do we sign a contract? Shake hands? Sacrifice a goat?" Daniel smirked. "No livestock required." He pulled out his phone and tapped the screen a few times. A moment later, her phone buzzed. She glanced down at the screen. "Daniel Carter has sent you a calendar invite." Sophia's eyebrows shot up. "You scheduled our fake relationship?" Efficiency is important. She let out a breathless laugh. "Oh my God, you're serious about this?" He nodded. "We'll need to be seen together a few times over the next month. A charity gala, a business dinner, and a weekend event in the Hamptons. That should be enough to satisfy the media and shift the narrative. Sophia rubbed her temples. The Hamptons. It's a networking retreat. You'll be introduced as my plus one. She nearly choked. I don't even own anything remotely Hamptons appropriate. Daniel waved a hand dismissively. That's handled. She blinked. Excuse me? I'll have my assistant arrange a wardrobe selection for you. Sophia scowled. So what? You're dressing me now? You said you didn't want me to micromanage you. He tilted his head slightly. This isn't micromanaging. It's logistics. She opened her mouth, then shut it. You're impossible. Daniel leaned back, studying her with a hint of amusement. And yet you agreed. Sophia groaned. Against my better judgment. He smirked. Then let's establish the rules. She exhaled sharply. Fine. Rule 1, no real feelings. This is strictly business. Agreed. Rule 2, no weird public displays of affection. Hand-holding is fine. Kissing is not happening. Daniel considered this. Situational. If it's necessary to sell the story, I won't hesitate. Her stomach flipped. That is not reassuring. Then let's call it case by case. Sophia narrowed her eyes. I hate you already. Daniel smirked. That makes 2 of us. She sighed. All right, what else? You'll attend the events as my date. In return, I'll introduce you to people who can help your business. And when this arrangement ends, we'll part ways cleanly. Sophia hesitated. And no one gets hurt, right? Daniel's expression turned unreadable. That's the goal. Something about his tone made her pause, but she shook it off. This wasn't real. It was just business. She extended her hand. Deal. Daniel took it. His grip was warm, firm, steady. Deal. And just like that, Sophia stepped into a world she had no business being in.